Shalom, Yasha. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chachadash. Double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Wa, peace, and salutations to all you hopeful elect Akim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp. And I'm coming at you with this lesson, just on a quick, I guess testimony on my travels when I was out, on the coast, which is the Oregon coast. I took some time off of work. It's nice to get out close to the ocean. Me personally, just because, hey man, I live in a landlocked state, so it's beautiful to be able to go see in the ocean. But when I was walking about, I came across a statue, which is actually a historical monument because it marks the end of the Oregon Trail. The end of the trail is what this is labeled, and this is Lewis and Clark. And if you know the history of the Lewis and Clark and the expedition of Sacagawea and the infant that they took with them, and obviously it wasn't just these two men. They had a bunch of natives helping them, a bunch of other colonial explorers in their troop, well armed, etc. This is a commemoration to them, so-called, and I just wanted to, bring it out to the attention, because I did a whole walk around and I took pictures, and I'm going to break down, the different pictures that had on this statue. Just goes to show you that Esau, Edom, is that devil, and as Job 9:24, which I love to bring out, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, but I have a few scriptures that I had prepared before time. But this is Proverbs 22:28. Remove not the ancient landmark which thy fathers have set. And that's just a law in general. In most other cultures, they respect that. It wasn't until Islam came that the so-called Middle Eastern countries started destroying a lot of the historic monuments that were remnants of the civilizations that ruled before. They were Muslim dominant countries. And Esau, Edom came over here to the Americas, conquering the Americas through the term manifest destiny, which he believed it was his God-given right to own and rule the land from East Coast to West Coast, from rising of the sun to the setting of the sun, because the West Coast has, the some of the most beautiful sunsets, especially if you're, around the areas, the coast, the trees and all that, man. It's not too populated. The Oregon coast, I have to say, is a very beautiful place to visit. Besides, the politics that people, hear about Oregon, in that area, it's a beautiful land. Oregon is very green, but this devil has conquered and unalived the natives that were there, and I'm going to zoom in on a couple of these images. But as you can see, you had Gadites hunting whales right here. But what they're doing in this picture is he enslaved the natives. They say, oh, they showed him how. Nah, he forced them, to do certain manual labors, which is boiling seawater, so that they could put them in different clay pots and sell them for the sea salt. Because sea salt and getting salt was a very, sought after commodity, especially in those times. And you have, this Lewis right here, and then Clark has his head over here. And then another zooming in is they gave commemoration to Sacagawea, which was their guide. And if you can notice, look, she got fringes on, and he got fringes on too, but that's only because his garments were given to him by the natives, a bulk of them, and there she's carrying her infant, and she don't look very happy to me. She was probably getting passed around on the daily, but they're not going to add that to your fucking history books, And then this was a picture that was Clark's plan, which was I believe it was a so-called type of calendar to keep track on the trip. It's like his how he was telling time, etc. And by this time he was supposed to reach the coast, etc. But here's another one of him, like, so-called leading the charge. But what do you got? You got Gadites right here doing the work, because this motherfucker didn't know how to navigate the rivers. He didn't know which bends to take. He didn't know which places to avoid, and he's all sitting here like he's doing it a big thing. Nah, the Gadites were showing him, and this is an actual picture on that bell, on that thing, and see, this is another picture. You have Lewis and Clark right here. He has a pickaxe in his hand, which means they found gold. And you have the sun right here rising, and you have the sun right here setting. And you see how he has one hand from the east coast and one hand to the west coast. That's because, again, that's that manifest destiny of him wanting to connect both of the sides. So I'm walking around and I'm looking at this monument. I'm like, man, Esau's a fucking devil, man. And then we know that we have some more images here, and this is zooming out to the major of it. And this placard, it says it's Lewis and Clark statue, a 1998 project by Mayor Joyce Williams, obviously the mayor that dedicated this. But as you can see, this picture, Salakia, is something that is very, sought after, that people come and look at, because this is a major, milestone to Esau's, how do you say, hierarchy of him saying, oh, we conquered this land from sea to rising sea. So I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to bring some scriptures, because, hey, man, this is the devil. And this just is another receipt that he is the one that conquered, and he is the one that took over the earth, in the modern day sense of who has power. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first. And this is the point, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. We know is Esau, Edom, and the other son of perdition we know is Judas Iscariot, but that's beside the point. The son of perdition set aside for judgment is Esau, Edom. And we know this, which is another receipt that he conquered the Americas. And how many of these other monuments are all over Babylon the Great and what he did to the natives and the Gadites in the northern and the southern kingdoms to build this land. Verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he as the Most High sitteth in the temple of, it says God here, of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, showing himself that he is Yahweh Bashim Yashai, but that he is the Most High. So he's putting himself like, oh, look, I did this. I did the conquering. I did the pillaging. And look at me. This is me standing in my pride. And this is what this devil is doing. And when I was walking across this monument, I couldn't help but put a curse on that monument, and just, man, feel some type of way, as you always do when you go into and hear about the history of what Esau, Edom did to the Gadites, the northern tribes, from all the way down to the point of Chile, all the way to the Gadite tribes in northern Canada. This man has slaughtered his way all over this Western hemisphere, as well as over the whole world. And I brought this out in my last lesson, but I'm going to bring this out in this lesson as well, because it applies. This is Psalms 49 and 11. Salakia, once my fingers get there. Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Hence the 50 states, the United so-called States of America, that has all been built by blood shed, robbery, treachery, slander, and bloodshed, mainly bloodshed, because nothing on this land was gained righteously. It was taken and it was stolen, which is going to lead me to my last scripture, because I mentioned it at the beginning of this lesson. Then I'm going to go ahead and close it out, because this is a part of prophecy, is showing the world the receipts on who the devil is. This is Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Who's putting up these statutes with their hand on the east coast and one hand on the west coast? manifest destiny, conquering, has such a bloody history as a so-called self-proclaimed white man, which are the descendants of Esau Edom, the brother of Jacob, the son of Isaac, which sold his blessings and despised his birthright, which is why Jacob was given, the blessing and the birthright, which went into the 12 tribes of Israel, his sons, which the 12 tribes of Israel are scattered throughout the four corners of the world, and we're catching judgments. And this is one of the main receipts on who the Israelites are and who the wicked is. Who is the wicked is because who's in charge of the situation, who's in control, so-called, we understand that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is setting this up for prophecy's sake. And who is at the bottom, who's the tail, who's in slavery, who's got their land stolen. And then that leaves you with a process of elimination. All these other nations still have their nations, except the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which make up and consist of the 12 tribes of Israel. And again, say this lesson all throughout the lesson, this is just one of many receipts that we can hold against you, Esau Edom. So Lord willing that this lesson was edifying unto the elect. Till next time, I would like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Chachadash, and double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. While peace and salutations to all you hopefully like talking about there laboring, that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. Till next time, Lord willing, Shalom.